So this is a demonstration of how to disassemble and reassemble the Shetland Attack Pony version 6. You will need a crosshead screwdriver, preferably non-magnetic. Ideally, also you could do with a little bit of silicone grease. Doesn't have to be anything kind of fancy, just some kind of grease. And a wooden pencil, or anything else, preferably not conductive, which is a bit spiky. So first step, we're just going to remove the end cap. Take that off, pop that down. Next, take off the screws at the front. Keep those for later. These screws are special. They are made of brass, so they are not magnetic. That's kind of important in a compass. 3. And 4. Take that off. There's our screws. So now you can take the end plate off. You will see that there is a little silicone gasket here. You don't need to remove that, but we might want to just top up the grease levels a little bit later. Okay, so in here you can see we've got the laser at the end, and we've got 2 little tags here and here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the pencil, and if you look in the end you can see the USB slot. You can just see it here. So a bit of pressure on there, and because of the tags it's not coming out, so we need to just release these tags one at a time whilst pushing pressure on here, and at some point you'll just feel it go. And you can just use your pencil to push the whole thing out. Once it's more than a little way out, stop using the pencil and just very gently pull this out. Note this little cable here, that's important. So just gently pull everything out. Should all just come out in one place. So you've got the pony, here's the microcontroller, magnetometer, a little bit of power controls, battery, LiPo battery, laser. Underneath here you'll see there's a cable which connects the buttons to the main circuit board. Let's just gently pull that off, and we can put that off to one side. Next we need to take this out, and we're going to use some needle nose pliers, which I didn't mention earlier, but you do need those. And just grasp the shim and a bit of force, and it doesn't want to go, because again we've got these little tags here. So a little bit of pressure on there, a little bit of pressure on there, and let's see if it wants to play. Sometimes this needs a fair bit of force to pull this out. There we go, that's out. Now on the buttons, press down, that pops out. You can take this out. Here's the buttons, and you can just take the lid off these. And that's it. That's the disassembly complete. To reassemble, it's nice just to put a little bit of grease on the bottom side of the boot. Just helps with the sealing. So grease on here. And just have a look at this. So you see on the button the leads come off this end. This is the B end, so make sure you've got your buttons on the right way around. They will still fit in the wrong way around, and just give them a bit of a click. Just check that you can feel the clickiness of each button. So next, take the whole assembly and put it back in. Bit of force just to push it into place. Hold on, we've forgotten an important bit. A bit more grease. So again, Bit of grease on these top flat surfaces. Don't need huge amounts, just a little coating. Again, just helps with waterproofing. And push them back into place. And if you look, you'll see they'll sit a little proud. Take your shim, angle it back in, and a bit of force, and it's in. Sometimes you may just need to tuck that lead in there and press it down on the flat surface just to get everything in place. That's done. Next step, reattach the PCB and the button lead. This can be a little fiddly. That's in. Now then, take your sled and push it back in. Make sure you don't catch this lead as you go in. So what I tend to do is I tend to hook a finger through the lead as I'm pushing everything in, just to make sure everything stays in one place. So you can see we've got a little loop of the lead coming up here, and as we push the sled into here, that just stays up here out of the way, and then we can push that. You can apply pressure just on this bit of the laser. So try not to touch this bit. This is the lens that collects the returning laser light, but you can put a bit of pressure on here and just snug your little tags back into the sides. Last step, bit more grease. Just pop some grease on these edges. I mean, they should be already a bit greasy anyway, but if you're taking things apart, never hurts to add a bit more. I'm using a little syringe to do this, but you don't have to, you can just use your finger. So that's on. Pop this back on. Make sure you've got the gasket on the inside. There we go. However, I have smudged that. I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of a smudge on there. So I'm just going to use a bit of paper to try and clean that off before I seal everything up. And I'm making a horrible job of this. So I'm going to just go and get some rubbing alcohol, and we'll give everything a proper clean. So I'll just take the gasket off. Bit of rubbing alcohol. Just give it a gentle clean with some tissue. There we go. Dry it off. Now that's nice and clean. Look. Beautiful. Seeing as I've taken the gasket off, I'll put that on separately. So that just fits on there nicely. Lay that on top. The whole thing will balance on its end. So I can just pop the screws in. And just screw it up. Doesn't need to be super duper tight. If you make it super duper tight, that can actually distort everything. So you just want it to be gently enough that all the seals get compressed. There we go. That's it. And just give it a wipe around here because we've squeezed some grease out. There we go. Last step, seeing as we've got some grease around, there's a little gasket just inside here. Let's just pop a bit more grease on there. We can screw the end cap on. And that's it, all done.